We're told constantly to hustle, to grind, to optimize every single second. But what if that relentless pursuit of doing more is actually the very thing holding you back? Well, today, we're hopping off that productivity hamster wheel. We're going to learn how to design a life that isn't just busy, but one that's truly meaningful.
So let's be real. Does this feel a little too familiar? You're sprinting all day, you're checking off tasks, you're firing off emails, but then, at the end of the day, you don't feel accomplished. You just feel drained. It's this bizarre paradox of constant motion without any real progress. And that's exactly what we're going to tackle head on today.
All right, so the villain of our story. It actually has a name: toxic productivity. Now, this is not the same as healthy ambition or, wanting to achieve your goals. No. This is a compulsive drive, this nagging voice in your head that says any moment not spent working is a moment wasted. And the craziest part, pushing this hard actually makes you less effective. And look, this isn't just a list of bad habits. It is a vicious cycle. It usually starts with that guilt, right? That feeling you get when you're trying to rest, but you feel like you should be working. That guilt then pushes you to tie your entire self-worth to how much you get done, which turns your breaks into just more work prep, and poof, there goes your social life. The end result is always the same: total burnout.
So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to really understand the trap that so many of us are in. Then, we'll introduce a really powerful new mindset. After that, we'll tap into our own biology, which is super cool. Then we'll build a practical toolkit. And finally, we'll put it all together so you can start living a life by design, not by default.
Okay, so let's dive into the problem itself: the toxic productivity trap. We're going to explore exactly why our culture's obsession with more is just so fundamentally broken.
This quote just hits the nail on the head. See, this productivity trap, it's not just in our own minds. When we don't clearly set our own priorities, believe me, the world is more than happy to set them for us. It happens through social media, through work, through the endless demands of other people. We end up living their plan for us, and it just leaves us feeling reactive and completely out of control. And get this, here's the cruelest twist of all. Even your own success can lead you straight into this trap. I mean, it starts out great. You've got clarity, you work hard, you succeed. But then, success brings more opportunities, right? More people want your time. And suddenly, your energy is scattered everywhere. You're spread way too thin. And you're not even focused on the one thing that made you successful to begin with. The very pursuit of success becomes the thing that causes you to fail. It's wild.
So how in the world do we break free from this cycle? Well, we start with a mindset shift that feels a little weird at first. It's the disciplined pursuit of less but better. And this is the absolute core idea behind a philosophy known as essentialism. So you can see here there are really two paths you can take. The non-essentialist is constantly pulled in a million different directions, always trying to do it all, thinking almost everything is important. But the essentialist, they understand a really hard truth. You can do anything, but you can't do everything. They learn to filter out the noise so they can focus their energy where it'll have the biggest impact. This whole way of thinking is really built on three simple but powerful truths. First is remembering that you always have the power of choice. You're never truly stuck. Second is accepting that in a world of endless noise, only a very few things are truly essential. And finally, embracing trade-offs. You have to get comfortable with the idea that saying yes to one important thing means saying no to 100 other, less important things. And that's not a loss. That's a strategy.
All right, so we've covered the what and the why. But to be truly effective, we have to master the when. And this is where it gets really interesting, because it turns out your productivity isn't just about discipline. A huge part of it is actually about your biology.
And the key concept here is your chronotype. Basically, it's your body's natural, hardwired internal clock. It controls your energy peaks and your slumps all day long. This is exactly why all that one-size-fits-all advice, like you have to wake up at 5 a.m. to be successful, just doesn't work for so many people. We are all wired differently.
So, which one are you? Researchers have kind of broken it down into four main types. Are you a lion? That's your classic early bird ready to go at sunrise. Or maybe a dolphin, a light sleeper, often a bit of a perfectionist. You could be a bear. That's the most common type. Their energy follows the sun. Or maybe you're a wolf, the creative night owl who really comes alive when everyone else is going to bed.
Now this is the big aha moment right here. Real productivity isn't about being on all day long. It's about matching the type of task to your natural energy levels. So, during your peak focus time, that's when you tackle the hard analytical stuff. But here's the cool part. During your energy slumps, your brain is actually better at creative work because it's a little less rigid. So a bear, for example, should do their deep focus work mid-morning and save their brainstorming for that mid-afternoon slump.
Okay, we have the right mindset. We understand our timing. Now, it's time to build our toolkit. These are the actual, practical strategies you can start using today to protect your focus and get the essential things done.
And first things first, we have to just completely destroy one of the biggest myths in all of productivity. I'm talking, of course, about multitasking. The idea that doing more things at once means you're getting more done. It's just not true.
And the hard data on this is just undeniable. Multitasking doesn't save you time, it costs you time. Every single time you switch between tasks, your brain pays what's called a cognitive switching penalty. And get this, it can slash your overall productivity by up to 40%. It's not a skill, it is a focus killer, plain and simple.
Now, here's a tool you've probably seen before, and it is a classic for a very good reason. This matrix helps you sort out what's truly important versus what's just loud and urgent. Most of us live in that urgent column, just reacting and putting out fires all day. But the real magic, the place where you make actual progress on your goals, is in that important, not urgent box. That's where you find control.
Okay, here is your anti-burnout starter pack. 6 quick things. First, decide what done looks like for the day, and then actually stop. Second, set firm boundaries, like a 6 p.m. computer shutdown. Third, take real breaks, where you fully disconnect. 4, treat sleep and exercise, like they're the most important meetings in your calendar. And finally, you have to master the graceful no. It's not about being rude, it's about protecting your energy for what matters.
So let's bring all of this home. We've broken down the trap, we've adopted a new mindset, we've built a practical toolkit. The final piece of the puzzle is about making this a real way of life, a life that you design on purpose, not one you just fall into by default.
I love this quote because it really just forces a critical choice. What do you really want? A long list of tiny things you did that don't really matter, or a short list of things that have real meaning? That's what this is all about, trading a millimeter of progress in a million directions for powerful momentum towards the things that are truly vital to you. And that brings us to our final question, and it's one I really want you to sit with for a minute. This question is designed to cut through all the noise, all the obligations, all the shoulds. It forces you to get crystal clear on what is most important. Because your answer to this question, it isn't just an answer. It's the first step towards living a life on purpose.